to this morning's assembly. This morning we have quite a number of presentations to award to students, and those students who are receiving awards this morning are here on a socially distant basis to receive their awards. Prior to presenting our awards, I'm going to go through our weekly notices. First of all, I want to send best wishes to Reverend Alex, who's at home unwell this week, and Reverend Alex, if you're watching, we look forward to seeing you safely return to us next Monday. So, our announcements to start our assembly this morning. First announcement is from our nursing team. The nurses are asking that all students are reminded that if you need to go to the nurse under the COVID-19 protocol, you have to get permission. First of all, a member of the deputy principal team needs to ring over to make an appointment with the nurse just to make sure that there's nobody else over in the nurse's surgery at that time. So please make sure you follow that protocol at all times. Second announcement is in relation to the state exams for all members of sixth form. A reminder to all members of sixth form that at lunchtime today, Thursday, you need to come out at 1:15 to the area just outside the Yates building, where my deputy principal colleagues and myself will be, and on an alphabetical order basis by surname. We need you to confirm the subjects and levels that you have submitted on the online protocol to the State Exams Commission for this year's Leaving Certificate examinations and for the accredited grades process. So we look forward to seeing all members of sixth form outside the Yates building at 1:15 today. Our tractor run for this year is going to have to occur on a virtual basis, once again as a consequence of the national COVID-19 guidelines. So notification for everybody who's involved in this year's tractor run. All seniors who are signed up to participate in this year's tractor run are requested to submit a 10 to 15 second long video for inclusion in the virtual tractor run video that we're compiling for this year. If you send your video via email to tractorrun@kilkennycollege.ie, and ideally no later than the end of next Monday, please. From the music department, a reminder that if you haven't collected your music yet, can you come and see Mr. Tida, and rehearsal will be as normal at 6:15 in the sports hall. I believe, Mr. Tida, that's for the orchestra.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so anybody who's involved in the orchestra is recommencing tonight, Thursday night, at 6:15 in the sports hall. And if you haven't collected your music yet, will you please come to see Mr. Tida and collect it from him. From Reverend Alex, a reminder to the 35 students in second form who are going to be participating in confirmation classes this year. The confirmation date will not be decided by Bishop Michael until we return to school next September. It depends on many things, so we'd ask parents and students to simply wait until we hear what the decision of a date for the actual confirmation service for this year will be. Right now, the confirmation classes are commencing. They were due to commence this week, but due to Reverend Alex's absence, they'll be starting next week. There's one group on Tuesday and there's one group on Thursday evening. All relevant parents and guardians have been notified, and the classes commence at 6:30 p.m. in the chapel on each night, either Tuesday or Thursday, and they run for approximately 45 minutes. Those are all of our announcements for this morning, so we're now going to move into our presentations. The first of our presentations this morning is the Crave Raguna for the Comórtas Oiread an Fiosig. This is a speech competition that's being broadcast each night this week on YouTube and Facebook, and on the Gael Lynn YouTube and Facebook channel. We have two of our students who are the regional prize winners in this competition. So I want to say, first of all, congratulations to Sarah Talbot and to Jim Parmenter for their success so far. Agus ar mór leis na Mach Lynn in Ullaig, agus go gorgeous live agat an craibh únach of Mark. So to wish Jim and Sarah every success in their speeches, which are going to be going out tonight, and here to present the regional trophy to Jim and Sarah, representing our colleagues in the Irish department, is Ms. Morris. So Ms. Morris, if you'd like to come forward and we'll make the presentation.
Okay, Jim and Sarah, it's ready to start. Go to this. And congratulations to Jim and to Sarah once again, and the best of success with your speeches tonight. The presentation this morning is to two members of fourth form, and they are two of the many students in fourth form who entered this year's Irish Maths Teachers Association Transition Year Maths Quiz Competition. This was the Peters Problem 2021. This maths competition was open to transition year students in schools all across the country, and there were many, many hundreds of students who entered the competition. I want to say well done to everybody who participated, and to thank my colleagues in the maths department for giving all the transition year students the opportunity to participate in this competition. When the results were issued, the wonderful news that came our way was that two of our students had made the top 10 in the country. So one of the top 10 who was awarded a top 10 prize was Liam O'Neill. Now I have Liam's certificate of success here. Unfortunately, Liam's not in this morning. We did present this to him last week, and we have a photograph of Liam receiving his award last week, and we'll give this to him as soon as he's back in school. So Liam had the great success of coming in the top 10 in the country, and we were also notified that the overall national winner was a member of fourth form in Kilkenny College this year as well, and that person was Anna Ryan. So Anna is here this morning with Mr. Larry, and Mr. Larry is going to come forward and make the presentation to Anna.
Thank you. Well done, Anna. Congratulations. Well done. Great achievement.
Third presentation this morning is as a result of the Bishop's Senior Essay Competition. As you will know, Bishop Michael is kind enough to organise an essay competition for senior cycle students in schools across the diocese each year. Every year there are a number of students from Kilkenny College who participate in this, and I'm delighted to be able to notify people that the overall winner of this year's Bishop's Senior Medal Essay Competition is Ella Hogg. Ella wrote an essay that was inspired by one of the titles that the candidates were given, and I'm delighted that Ella is here this morning, and she's going to read us her award-winning Senior Essay Prize. So Ella, I'm going to hand over to you.
I hadn't really meant to shout angrily at the priest in the street, who was foolish enough, from a distance of 2 meters, to ask me how I was, but just seeing him brought yet another wave of embarrassment crashing over me. I had been having an abominable day, the absolute worst, and it wasn't even my fault. I had left the comedy gig booking, as usual, to my best friend Mel. She was sort of like my agent. Up until today, she had done a great job. A couple of pubs here, some open mic nights there. So when I rolled up to her parents' house in my 03 Toyota Yaris, I expected nothing less than a regular Saturday night venue, booked and ready to go. As I'm assuming you have guessed, this was not the case. From my first glance at Mel's puce-coloured face, I could see something had gone catastrophically awry. Mel, what's happened? Nothing's happened. Why would you say something's happened? Nothing's happened. Let's go. She swung herself into the vehicle with impressive speed and agility for someone with the appearance of being in cardiac arrest. Where are we going? I'll tell you when we get there, just start driving. I did not like the sound of that. The booking hasn't been cancelled, has it? No, she answered firmly. It certainly hasn't been cancelled. In fact, it's sold better than any of your other comedy gigs this year. Really? That's excellent news. Mel's face retained its luminous colour. What is it you aren't telling me? We're here. What? We're here, she repeated in the same monotone voice. We're at the church, Mel, I explained slowly, before it dawned on me. No, you didn't. I did. Mel's face is in her hands. You booked! I lowered my voice to a stage whisper at the sight of an old couple staring. You booked me to do a comedy gig in a church. This exclamation was met with silence. I'm not doing it. Mel looked up quickly. Oh, yes, you are. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm out of here. I started the car. Mel's hand caught mine on the gear stick. We made more money on this gig than we have in a whole year, okay? I didn't mean to book the church. I thought we were getting the village hall, but by the time I found out, we had sold too many tickets. She took a deep breath. You are going to go in there, you're going to do your cleanest routine and make us both proud. She continued to stare at me intently after she stopped talking, as if I would bolt as soon as she blinked. She wasn't far off. My heart had sank even further at the mention of routines. None of mine were particularly blue, but still not the kind you'd trot out for, say, I don't know, a church congregation. It was that mishap that led to me standing alone beside the pulpit in a church, trying to improv my way out of the mess I was sucked into. It's moments like this where you pause and reevaluate every life choice you've ever made. So let's take a moment, while I grab a coup d'œil of my aging audience, all over 60 years of age, minus the one 30-something-year-old couple with the two overindulged and underdisciplined screaming children, to stop and reflect. I don't do this enough. The fact that it's took the most embarrassing event of my life to get me to even consider a bit of constructive reflection is not a great portrayal of my character. But then, I never said I came out of this story looking amazing. At 26 years old, it's been 8 years since I've been to church, but at least 15 since I felt a part of it, properly believed, you know, all of that. Praying isn't something that crosses my mind often, except maybe in times like this. Do you think God would come to my rescue if I asked nicely? Probably not. Church is for old people anyway. What am I even doing here? Someone coughed. The spoiled kids wailed louder. I suddenly snapped back into reality with the force of a door slammed by an angry man and realized that I had been staring at my audience for approximately 2 long minutes, and worse, they had been staring blankly back. How's everybody going? A low rumble echoed through the room in response to my overdue greeting. I already knew this was bad, but I hadn't realized the extent of my troubles. After just 15 minutes of regaling empty jokes and anecdotes to myself in front of a room of statues, I surrendered and left with my metaphorical tail firmly between my shaking metaphorical legs. Even the children had gone quiet at one point. My feet crunching on graveyard gravel, I told Mel I'd walk home. I'd get my car back off her tomorrow. I needed the air. I trudged on, oblivious to any sounds around me. Unexpectedly, from a little way behind me, there was a voice calling. God, I thought, delirious with humiliation. No, it's not God. How are you feeling? The unfamiliar, impatient voice grated on my ears, and I kept my eyes trained on the ground. Oh, go away! I've had enough nonsense to put up with today to last me a decade. Are you sure? Maybe it would help you to talk about what just happened. I turned sharply and accosted who I then realized was a priest, presumably from the church I had just made a fool of myself in front of. No, thank you, I said forcefully. I'm quite all right. If you think so, it was a tough crowd. Have a good night. That made me spin around again. It was a tough crowd, actually, the toughest I've ever come across. You should try them on a Sunday morning. I laughed out loud despite myself. You had some quite good jokes, I must say. Thank you. I was at a loss for words. I thought churches were just for stuffy old people, but this priest had a real sense of humour. You know, churches aren't just for stuffy old people. Really? Because it seems yours is. Very good. No. God doesn't only cater for the older generation. God can help you too. I eyed him suspiciously, then shrugged. Yeah, well, I haven't gone to a service in years. It'd be weird to show up now. Not at all. We'd be glad to have you. Like in the parable of the lost sheep, God is always happy to find someone who's been lost. At that statement I smiled, and instantly felt a little closer to God than I had in years. I'm not claiming that a few nice words from a well-meaning priest turned my whole life around, but they sure helped.
Ella, congratulations, and thank you so much for reading through your prize-winning essay. And Ella, you're a very talented actor and have experience in drama, and there's a wonderful natural flow to your piece. You can easily just imagine yourself inside that church making that, or doing that performance, carrying out that performance, and the whole experience in advance, the angst in advance, the experience of doing it, and then meeting up with the priest afterwards. It's a very, very cleverly and very well put together piece with a wonderful natural flow to it. So congratulations and well done, and fully deserving of your prize. Well done. So, linking from the experience of meeting a priest outside a church, we're now going to move to this morning's hymn. This morning's hymn is going to be played by Mr. Tida, and he is going to be accompanied by Jim Parmenter. And our hymn this morning is Love's Redeeming Work is Done. Take a moment and bow our heads and join in saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. So I'd like to wish you well for the day and for the rest of the week ahead, and look forward to seeing everybody again at Assembly.